A long time ago, there was a man who laid down his life on the line.
I've been asked to share a story that goes back to 1953. I was 6 years old at the time, and I remember that as children we played in the floor at the camp meeting, and a lot of times the center section had been concreted, if I remember right, but the side sections were still sawdust floors. And I remember vividly, this is in my memory, that one evening the preacher was preaching, and I don't remember who the evangelist was. The stage was on the north end of the old tabernacle. It was the stage that had the pulpit that was about 5 feet wide. I remember that people began snickering and laughing, and that something was going on during the sermon. And I looked up from the floor. I was down on the floor playing with some toys or something that Mom had brought to entertain me. And so I got up in the seat, the pew, and watched what was going on. And so I stood up where I could see, and above the pulpit was a rafter, and crawling across that rafter was a large possum. And the people in the audience could see it coming, but the evangelist could not see it because he was standing directly beneath that beam. And as that possum came across, the people laughed more and more, and finally you could see I wouldn't say irritation, but you could see the concern on this evangelist's face. I think he didn't know. He started kind of checking his clothing to make sure that all of his openings were closed, and he began feeling around on himself, as I remember, and starting to look around for someone to give him a hint as to what was going on. And this is the part that's not vivid in my memory, but as I recall this later with my mom and dad, it seems like one of the gentlemen one of the leaders, came over and got him and had him step back a few steps while the possum walked across the beam. The possum walked across. I don't know what happened to the possum. My understanding was it did not get saved that night, but it did disappear into oblivion somewhere. And that's what I recall about the possum story. Now, Hyson Denton has also asked that I tell some stories on a few of the people that lived there. I was raised on the campground. My father was caretaker. To the west side was the Jackson family with several children. To the east side was the Stipes family with several children. We have a lot of stories that we could tell, but we are not sure that the statute of limitations has run out in the state of Illinois, so we'll stop right there.
Well, you know that I would crawl all the way to the river. I would crawl all the way to the